Hello everybody, it's Josie here. I am going to do another edition of A to Z of Queer Lit. Now, I haven't done this for a while, so I thought I would talk about some of, hopefully, the newer books that I've read, so not necessarily new releases, but just some of the ones that I haven't talked about in my other A to Zs yet. Hopefully that's the idea. So I've got my laptop here to remind me. I've got all the books over here. I'm not going to go into sort of detail about them. I'm literally just going to tell you the name, the author, maybe a line or two, but these books are all queer in one way or another. So here we go. So A is for this one, Apocalypse Baby by Virginie Descartes. This is basically about a crazy ass lesbian kind of detective bounty hunter lady. It's translated from the French. It's a wild ride. I enjoyed it. Fantastic book. B is for Batwoman. This is the comic. This is the rebooted comic, so The Many Arms of Death. I love Batwoman. The TV series is outstanding with Ruby Rose in it. I don't think I have to talk about too much about what Batwoman is. Crime fighting, lesbian gorgeousness. C is for The Chosen by Kirsten White, or just Chosen actually, by Kirsten White. This is set in the Buffy the Vampire Slayer universe, and I'm a massive, massive Buffy fan. And there are two sisters. One is essentially a Slayer, one is a Watcher. This is the second book in the series, and you see the relationship, the female-female relationship between the sister who is the Watcher and her girlfriend kind of progress. And there's also a lovely gay relationship in here that's so sweet. Lots of queerness, wonderful series, wonderful book. Can't wait for the third one. D is for The Daylight Gate by Jeanette Winterson. Jeanette Winterson is a queer writer. She writes mainly queer content books, but this one I like because it's a bit different. It's kind of horror. It's about witches. It's a bit gruesome at times, and there is a female-female relationship in this one. Then the next one, E, is for The Abyss Surrounds Us by Emily Strutsky. This book is about a girl, Cassandra, who is basically a sea monster trainer, and then her sea monster kind of gets hijacked by pirates, and you know, there's a female-female romance and she falls in love on the pirate ship, and she's got to make a decision whether to stay with the pirates or go back to her real life. Then where are we? F is for The Future of Another Timeline by Annalee Newitz. I recently read this book. I loved it. It's queer, feminist, lesbian, sci-fi, time-hopping, future, past, reality book. It's amazing. Highly recommend it. Read it. Then G is for Gloves Off, and this is by Louisa Reed. This is gorgeous. This is a book told in verse, and it is about a girl who takes up boxing because she's being bullied, and there's also a very, very sweet female-female romance that develops in it. H is for Havenfall by Sarah Holland. This, again, is a recent read. I absolutely loved it. It's the first book, I'm assuming, in a new fantasy series, YA fantasy series. And there's lots of queer goodness in here. There's gay relationship. There's characters that I would term as bisexual. There's kind of otherworldly creatures where the sex of the partner doesn't seem to even be an issue, which is great. So really loved the series. Can't wait to read the rest. Speaking of a series I love, the next one is The Deathless Divide, and this is for for Justina Ireland. The Deathless Divide, again, this is the second book in a series, and this series is about so what should we say? It's a zombie, sort of a post-apocalyptic zombie series, and you have these girls. It's also POC author and lots of wonderful diversity in the cast, and it has asexual representation and what I would call bisexual representation as well, and a female-female relationship in the second one, and there's zombie fighting, girls kicking butt goodness on top of everything else. It is amazing. I love the series. Then J is Juliet Takes a Breath by Gabby Rivera. I adored this book. Again, this is POC, and this is also just beautiful feminist writing, kind of looking at women of colour through a feminist lens, and also queerness through you know, women of colour, queerness, feminism, all of those good things, and about a girl discovering herself, and yeah, female-female romance, very sweet, absolutely love this book. Then the next one is K, and that is Silk by Caitlin R. Kiernan. Again, this is the first in a series. It's a second book called Murder of Angels, and this is kind of a horror series, and it's kind of reminiscent of Poppy C. Bright's writing. Very hard to describe, but it's kind of like in the 90s punk, psychological horror, what's going on, craziness, and also this cool character that is kind of in this kind of punk goth 90s scene, and lots of ladies loving ladies in here, which I really like. Then the next one is, oh, what is this? This is for L, I think. Yes. I don't know my alphabet clearly. So we've got L for Black Iris by Leah Rader. There's the L. This book is awesome. I loved it. This is very morally grey characters, as I love. Kind of a twisted storyline with twists and turns. 3 people kind of involved in a friendship and a relationship. Like I said, lots of twists and turns. Thriller, craziness, darkness, very morally grey characters. Love it. Then, where are we? M is My Summer of Love by Helen Cross. This is also a film, and this is about 2 girls, one from kind of a rich family and one from a sort of a poorer family, and they spend the summer together. Yeah, it's good. Then the next one is N, and this is The City We Became by N.K. Jemisin. I've just read this. This has just got queer all over it. It is a crazy kind of sci-fi fantasy book about New York City and about how cities have life, and people represent the boroughs of New York City and they have to defend the city, and there's trans representation, there's POC representation, there's loads of queer representation. It's fantastic. It's a weird ride, but I liked it. Then O is Other Words for Smoke by Sarah Maria Griffith. I read this a while ago, but I really loved it, and it's due a reread. It's about 2 siblings that go and stay, I believe it was with their aunt or their grandmother, in this kind of cottage, and there's sort of weird goings on, and there is also some luscious queerness on top of that, and this is a really, really gorgeous book, and this cover is to die for. Then P is Wilder Girls by Rory Power. I think we're on P. Yes, we are. Again, gorgeous, gorgeous cover. I just literally read this a while ago. Loved it. It's about a group of girls who are at a girls' school and they're in quarantine. And because they have all developed these crazy ailments that kind of affect them physically, it's like a disease, and the outside world is afraid of catching it, so they've locked these girls into their island school. And yeah, it's kind of a thriller. It's quite disturbing. I really loved it. And there's loads of lady-loving queerness in the book as well. Yeah, I really like this book. Then the next one is Where Are We? And that was Rory Power, PQ. So we are at The Queen of Ifleria by Effie Kelvin. This is the first in the series. I believe there's about 4 books out. And in this universe, it's a fantasy universe. And the first book is about a queen that has to come and travel to marry another queen from another kingdom. To marry a king from a kingdom or prince. And she gets there and the prince is dead, so she marries his sister instead. And in this world, kind of gender doesn't really play that much of a role, and I love the discussion around also how they plan to have children and how gender just seems to be very fluid and sexuality seems to be very fluid, and I love that about the series. Definitely want to carry on reading that. Then R is The Deep by Rivers Solomon. Rivers Solomon is, I believe, a non-binary author, and they write some beautiful prose. This is all about kind of the memory of mermaids. That's all that I'm going to say about that. Then the next one is S, and that is Sabrina, The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina. This is the second book, Daughter of Chaos, and the first one I loved as well. This is a spin-off of the TV series, but there's a lot of queerness. Sabrina's uncle in this is hilarious. He is so multi-sexual, and he is a lot of fun, and he's in a male-male kind of relationship in the second one, and I really love it. It's very sweet. Then the next one is tea. So we've got Gideon the Ninth by Tamsin Muir. This, again, I cannot wait for Harrow the Ninth, which is coming out soon. Gorgeous book. And this is about lesbian necromancers in space. That's kind of how it's hailed, but it really is a wild ride. There's necromancy, there's mystery, there's kind of a space sci-fi element, there's a queer element. Gideon the Ninth, the character's fantastic. I am in love. She's awesome. Love the series. Cannot wait for the follow-up. Then we've got, oh, where are we? Okay, we have got the next one, which is The Last True Poets of the Sea, and I can't remember what oh, okay. So this is where we got to the letters where I couldn't find like the first letter of a name or the title, so we're going with a letter in there. So we're talking about you, and it's Last True Poets of the Sea by Julia Drake. So I try to kind of really double up on that because it's a bit poor. But this book is a Shakespeare retelling, and it is beautiful. It is so character driven and character focused about a girl. She's really troubled, and her brother, who has tried to commit suicide as well, so it's put a real strain on the family, and the parents send the girl back to the town that they grew up in, this little town, and she goes and works in this aquarium, and there's a beautiful developing female romance in this book, and it's just gorgeous about family relations as well, and you know, finding yourself, I guess. Beautiful book. Then I actually found it for this one, is Cry as War by Nina Varela. This again is sort of sci-fi. I really have a type at the moment. Queer kind of sci-fi set in different worlds and space. Beautiful slow burn female romance in here, and kind of like intrigue and court intrigue of this world. And oh my God, the cover is beautiful. And I'm sure there's going to be a second one. Cannot wait to read it. Then the next letter is W, and we've got Wild Blue Wonder by Carly Sorosake. I didn't say that correctly. But this is all about two sisters and a brother, and I believe they go to a camp and they all fall in love with the same boy. I think it's a boy? Yeah, with the same boy. So two sisters and a brother all fall in love with the same boy. You can imagine heartache and queerness ensue. Then we have got X, I found something for X, Boxer, Shadow Boxer, by Jessica Webb. This is about a woman who, she's had a bit of a troubled past. She's now works with at-risk youth, and so in her past she was a boxer, and through that she's been able to open this neighborhood gym where the kids kind of can come and box. So it's all about that, and her ex-girlfriend, who broke her heart, comes back into her life. So it's about that, and there's also kind of a bit of a thrillery, detective-y element to this book, and I really liked it. Then Y, we've got Holly Black's The Darkest Part of the Forest. There is a lovely queer element. So you've got a brother and the sister that live in this kind of town where they're very aware of the fae and the folk. And there's this like coffin in the middle of the town where the sleeping fairy prince is, and everybody tries to wake it up, and then the fairy prince wakes up. And there's a lovely male crush and romance going on there. And then Z. So I literally could find nothing with the letter Z in it. So I kind of used it as a placeholder for my favourite book of all time, because I can't mention anything without mentioning my favourite book of all time. And that is Just Kids by Patti Smith. And also shout out to this gorgeous hardback illustrated, I'm not gonna, oh, yeah, there we go. Illustrated version of this book, which is just to die for. I treated myself to this a while back. Patti Smith is an author, a poet, a photographer, and a wonderful punk poetess singer. And this is the story of her and Robert Mapplethorpe, who was her love, but was also gay. He was queer. He came out to her, and he is one of my all-time favourite photographers. And this is a true life autobiography of their time together in the 70s in New York, and their kind of ascent to stardom, and what happened to their lives. And it is my all-time favourite book. So that's it. A to Z done. Thank you all for watching if you're still here. Any recommendations down below, tell me what you think, and I will speak to you all again very soon. Stay well and safe. Bye bye.